Welcome back to the Sip and Swish podcast. Here with Lucas McLean, Nick Reed. I'm Jason Stoltz. So first quarter, we call it Sip or Swish. We review the best and worst from the last week in the association. Let's get right into it, guys. This first topic, near and dear to my heart. You know where I'm going with it. Our listeners probably do too at this point. I can't even say the name. I'm so excited. The Philadelphia 76ers and Markelle Fultz are swishing. Winners of 7 in a row, including recent quality wins over the Nuggets and T-Wolves. Not just all these angel food cake games that we've had lined up. Lucas, why don't you start off? What are the Sixers doing right? Just give me your take.
I mean, they are just kind of plowing through some of these teams, but they've beaten equal level competitors, and I think that's the biggest thing, especially looking at some of the other teams that have faltered, like the Nuggets are actually falling apart to equal opponents. Timberwolves have fallen to equal opponents. I think the Wizards have been falling as well, but the 76ers are consistently staying at a good pace. What's this grin on your face?
When you say they beat opponents of equal skill, are you talking about the Knicks, Nets?
I said the Nuggets and the Timberwolves.
And then the Knicks, the Nets, the Hornets, the Grizzlies, the Magic.
Well, those are the cake games.
Those are the cake games. So I said they beat the equal competition, but their remaining schedule is extraordinarily easy too. I think
Absolutely.
They only play 2 people above 500, the Cavs and the Bucks. My stat checker's about to check to see if I'm right, but I know I'm right.
No, you're right. I'm a fan. I know you're right.
There are five games left against teams with less than 30 wins. This is going to be just a cakewalk, which it should be.
And I don't want to discount the fact that they are beating the teams that they should be beating, because we're seeing around the league right now some quality teams just with really bad losses, that you just shake your head at.
It is just not a detriment. Maybe it's not they should win. So it's not even a win really. It's just you should get the W. And if you lose, it's a huge loss and there's no real victory.
It is, since they're only a half game back of the Cavs, and I think 3 of their last 5, Embiid and Simmons and most of their starters didn't play the fourth quarter. They're just resting them. It was like Curry when he had that MVP season. This is the perfect time to play 3 quarters and then not have to play the fourth.
I like the feeling that Philadelphia is legit now. This is kind of...
It's exciting.
They're now at the stage where they should be beating, subpar teams consistently, always.
Yeah, you're right. This is the first season in I don't even know how long where you could say that about the Sixers, where it's that's a team that they definitely should beat.
It was 6 years ago, right? They had Drew Holiday. I think when they had Drew and
Thaddeus Young,
right before they got Bynum.
Last year they won.
Yeah, it was right before.
What was it?
Right
Last year they won
Bynum.
28 games. The year before that they won 10 games.
10 games, yes.
This year they're on pace to have almost 50, and they're more likely to get 50 than the San Antonio Spurs.
Trust the process.
So the midseason acquisitions have turned out to be huge.
Oh yeah,
Ilyasova, Bellinelli. I mean, these guys are filling a void that. And so beautifully. I think especially Bellinelli, I really like the way he's fitting in with this team.
They can stretch the floor, and I'm actually really surprised that they were able to snag those two guys. I really thought any other contender was going to go after Ilyasova. I thought maybe another team would have wanted Bellinelli. Even Houston would have been screw it, we're all in shooting. Why not just get him? Or I kind of thought even the Wizards. They needed more bench help. They could have got Bellinelli off the bench. They could have gotten Ilyasova off the bench. Ilyasova is playing so well for Philadelphia right now. It kind of blows my mind.
Weird because I just think of him as being just not good. When he was on the Bucks, he was
always this weird stretch 4.
But now he's in the perfect league for it, where he's I can just stand out here and hit my threes. Yeah. I think it's great that they got these 2 guys, and I'm happy they're starting to do well. Just for Jason.
But the big news is Fultz.
Yes.
Fultz is the big news. Watching that game, I watched the condensed version that the NBA puts out.
Okay.
It's like a half hour. It's all cut and everything, every play, but there's no timeouts. It's they cut all the really bad time too in the game, so there'll be 6 minutes of just dead game nothing's happening. Whatever, they cut everything. It's great. But watching that game twice with Fultz, he tried so hard that whole game. His jumper still looked pretty gross, but he put so much effort into like his defense, which I thought was the biggest thing. Like maybe I can't shoot right now, but I'm just gonna take it to you on D.
I don't know if I agree with your assessment of the jumper.
I don't like the way it looks. I really liked it in college. It looked silky in college, but I just don't like how it looks right now.
I don't know. I thought it looked fine. I mean, whether or not it's better, equivalent, worse than it was in college, I don't know. Small sample size, hard to say for me at this point. But I agree he was aggressive. I really liked the aggression. He played hard on D. And his, some of his attacks at the rim were pretty phenomenal. I don't think they were back-to-back plays, but 2 plays that were pretty close together in the third quarter where you really saw what he could do. So one, he, dribble drove, kind of like had his back to the basket and made a super high degree of difficulty shot, like throwing the ball up over his head, basically not looking at the basket. And then he also just had a beautiful cut. And he had to actually like release the ball a split second earlier than he would have to avoid it getting blocked. But it just was like, it was really exciting. It was really exciting to see.
Just nice to see him out there and actually playing in a basketball game after 68 games of not playing and all this drama around him where, now you're kind of like, was he this hurt this long or is it just everyone was saying his confidence. Well, what made him just walk in that locker room and be like, Brett, I want to play tonight. He's like, okay, let's do it.
There's still so much mystery.
There's so much
surrounding all of this. But I will say, and I even wrote it down because I wanted to make sure I said it, people are idiots for fixating on the post-game press conference with him. Like, I couldn't believe...
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, I couldn't believe when I turned on Around the Horn at the gym the other night. And, they're talking, this is the first topic on their show, I'm pretty sure, and they're talking Markelle Fultz. And they spent the majority, at least half of it, talking about, at the post-game press conference, he was asked 2 different questions about his injury. Yeah. Just about the nature of his injury, kind of about the mystery that's still surrounding it. And he just stared, and he didn't say anything, like literally didn't say anything, just kind of stared uncomfortably. Like, whatever, dude. He's 19.
Yeah, if I was 19 and someone asked me, like, so is your injury real or not? I would just be like,
Yeah, could you imagine, like, that whole staff is like, don't give details. Like, you're a professional athlete now. You cannot give, like, a huge description of what's wrong with you to the media. Like, that's not something you can do. And the magnifying glass has been on him so hard all season about everything.
Yeah, he's had a rough year. Like, let's give the kid a break.
I'm a little surprised they made him, like, do a press conference because I think, like, teams have 2 guys up there. Like, I'm actually surprised they even had him there. Like, I would have been like, no, you're going to the locker room.
I think it was one of those things where they didn't really give people a heads up that he was going to play. He just kind of played. Maybe 2 hours before, everyone's like, Fultz is playing.
I guess maybe the whole atmosphere of that game was, like, a good story. Yeah, it was like, Fultz did well. He played. The whole city was behind him. They did the skull. They did the skull chant for him.
Yeah, and you had the crowd losing their mind in the fourth quarter, trying to get him to come back in. Brown finally letting it happen, and then he seals the game was over, but he seals, I guess. I don't know. He seals the game for himself in a sense. Like he put a nice cherry on top of the ice cream sundae.
All these great things happen. Then he goes to a press conference, and the media expects like the world of this kid. I don't really know.
All right, we could talk. Lord knows I could talk Sixers for the entire podcast, let alone first quarter. But let's move on. And we're going to be discussing another Eastern Conference team that's kind of not moving in the same direction. Toronto Raptors. You're kind of sipping. I feel bad saying you're sipping, but you are a little bit. And it feels like they're sipping for the first time this year. Nick, I want you to start this one.
Sipping as much as like the first seed in the East could. But DeMar is playing garbage the last 10 games. I think he's like 19 point. It's like 19, 5 and 5, which okay, but he's shooting 39% from the field, 29% from 3, and like maybe 80% from the free throw line. It's not DeMar numbers. There was MVP talk about him earlier in the year, but they lose that game to the Cavs where they scored 80 in the first half.
Yeah,
80. I watched the game and I was like, wow, the Cavs suck. And then also, like, the hot take, pulling a Lucas, some hot cakes in there. But
everyone needs a pancake.
I was just like, what is this game? And then I almost turned it off in the third. I think I was texting you guys, and I'm like, this is an okay game. I might switch. I stayed with it. And then somehow Cleveland came back.
You and I picked Cleveland in that game, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I was kind of like,
It didn't feel good for a minute.
It did not feel good.
But yeah, I agree. I mean, DeRozan has scored 15 and 11 in his last 2 games. Like you said, you were a potential MVP candidate. You're putting up 15 and 11 at this point in the season. Like, the 1 seed isn't wrapped up. Like, they're gonna get it, but it's not for sure. If they go on a slide,
Yeah, if they slip.
well, if they continue
hard.
to slide,
Yeah.
So yeah, they're 3-3 in their last 6. I don't know if I said that. And yeah, I mean, even last night, the 3 of us were watching several games around the league last night together, and I thought Denver was going to pull that out. They looked shaky against Denver.
Kyle Lowry was the only starter in the fourth quarter.
DeMar wasn't out there. That was the biggest red flag.
No other
though.
starter played besides Kyle Lowry in the fourth.
I feel like Fred VanVleet, though, I feel like they play him those late minutes, you know.
But to not have DeRozan out there at all in a close game.
That's what I was saying. Like, DeRozan's supposedly the best player in your team. And
Well, he is, yeah.
he's had such a bad year, actually, looking back on it now. Last year, averaged 27. This year, he's averaging like 23. Like,
I think it
almost
speaks more to the
23.
bench becoming much better because their
He's
bench
shooting
fast.
worse all around. Well, his 3 went up to 30%. It's like, that's really not that great of an achievement. But, like, he's been playing well, but he's also had, like, these huge slumps. Like, him personally, not the team, but just DeRozan has gone through these waves of, like, playing great and then instantly being this, like, rock bottom, weird, bizarre shooting guard that's shooting, like, sub 40%.
I feel like it's interesting too because with, you know, him putting himself out there with the mental health thing, I feel like he opened up the possibility for discussion. Like, are these slumps related to mental health? And I don't know. I guess I personally don't want to make that connection, but I'm just going to say that
People
he
will.
opened that door.
People will hypothesize that this is some sort of, like, oh, you're slumping. Are you
You okay?
depressed?
Yeah,
Are you okay?
I'm just thinking LeBron James, Eastern Conference against the Raptors, and he's just like, are you okay, little buddy? Like, are you okay to play
Yeah.
basketball? Are you feeling a little sad? Like that. Like, LeBron will get in his head.
That was-
like, if that's a real thing.
Who said that? Was it was Kevin Garnett said, like, after these stories came out,
Yeah.
he's like, you guys think, like, this is a great thing?
Chris
But they're
Bosh
like,
said it,
oh,
too.
this is great. They're coming out and saying it's like, no, it's a really bad thing.
We're going to
for
use
themselves.
this against you.
Because people like Kevin Garnett. People like, well, if Rondo is, you know, going to be a playoff guy, Rondo will. He'll say some really terrible, mean things.
Lucas's
to someone.
face lights up every time he says the name Rondo.
Rondo's so much fun.
He says, like, Lucas's girlfriend's in it, Margie, or he says Rondo. I think his face lights up more for Rondo.
Oh, absolutely.
He's just like,
Love you, Margie.
So you guys brought up their bench, and this is one thing I wanted to touch on as well. So one of their greatest strengths is their depth and is their bench, and so they can beat up against an opposing team's second unit. Like, their bench is that good that pretty much put them out against any one second unit, they're going to win. But in the playoffs, and we've talked about this, you know, everything kind of shortens, and your best players play more. Is this an issue come playoff time? And the Washington Post actually just published an article yesterday about exactly this. And I am our resident quote guy, so I'm going to quote it real quick. They said, when rotations get shorter, you usually get better. But that's not the case with the Raptors. Super straightforward, right out there. But you guys have been higher on them than I have all year. I think this recent slide, this recent sipping, foreshadows what we're going to see in the playoffs. I continue to think, yeah, they probably have a better chance than any team to come out of the East, but I don't think they're going to come out of the East. Someone else is going to do it.
I don't.
Well, they lost to the Thunder, Cavs, and Clippers. In all those games, DeMar played terrible. I feel like this, you know, slipping might be just a cause of their best player playing completely terrible over a stretch.
Now, did you say sipping or slipping?
I said slipping, but I should have said sipping.
Stick to the theme, Lucas.
Yeah, I mean, DeMar's not playing great, and that's a big problem, though, because the rotations may shrink. Maybe they'll stick playing with Van Fleet and Podol in the fourth because they're like 17 points per 100 possessions better than just everybody.
But again, think about who a lot of the time who they're going against. Yeah. When that lineup is going against Bron and his crew, like,
I mean, Van Fleet's like the MVP, and then there's LeBron. No, I think this will be some issue that they're gonna have to either figure out, or they can just ride through the first round with playing their bench a lot. Second round, they start shrinking. Third round, shrinking, and then maybe they get to the finals. I'm not sold anymore because I don't know what DeMar's going to show up and do.
I don't know. I'm ready for playoff basketball, though.
Oh, my gosh. Houston, conversely, continues to swish. Winners of 10 in a row. I feel like I've seen that like 3 times this year, maybe 4 times this year. We have had to like actively try to not include Houston in this first quarter every week. Because every week it's like, guys, we could say Houston is swishing. Like, they're that good. But we're like, we can't talk about them every week.
I just think if we did like the podcast when the Warriors won 73, it would just be every week we'd have to be like, oh, the Warriors just won by 40 again. And Steph Curry didn't play.
They're on a 27-game win streak right now.
Warriors are swishing. I can't even say it with excitement. But yeah, so Houston, I mean, I feel like from start to finish, they've been the most dominant team in the league. One really interesting stat I pulled was the team average scoring margin is plus 9.5 for the season. That ranks first. Over their last 3 games, they're plus 24.7. Obviously ranking first. Toronto is -1 over the last 3, to put it in context.
I don't know. They've had quality wins, but they're like competition again. There's nobody at Houston's level. So saying like, oh, they beat the Wolves, Spurs, Clippers, Pelicans twice, and the Blazers. Like, the Blazers were their hardest competition. That was a really good game, actually.
It was a great game.
That was a great game. But I feel like the rest of those teams are on like a tier or probably even 2 tiers below the quality of the Rockets. There's only like 3 teams in the league that are actually in that category when completely healthy. But that's why, like, you look at this and it's like, yeah, they're just this dominant force that is just pummeling teams in this, like, we're almost there category. Like, the Wolves are almost there to that elite. You know, the Pelicans could have been there, you know, but.
I mean, the Wolves just lost Jimmy, and that's really what sank them. But I really fear for the Rockets in the playoffs. I always do.
Okay.
Because James Harden, I worry about him. I worry about him in the playoffs.
I wanted to count the amount of second-round exits collectively that Chris Paul, Harden, and Mike D'Antoni have had.
I was going to say D'Antoni.
And I got up to something like 10 before I gave up. But it's like the 3 of them have
You ran out of fingers to count on, be honest.
That was it.
He forgot he had toes. He was wearing socks, and he's like,
well, that's one big toe. But, yeah, so they're just a team that's always been destined. They're just constructed with second-round bumps because that's just who they are. I don't really know. But I also do worry about them because I don't think they're going to get the calls they get in the regular season. Harden might get frustrated and give up because he's done that a few times this year.
But then you have to look. The Warriors were the biggest challenge. The Warriors were the guys everyone's like, okay.
Curry's out for the first round.
Durant, we don't know if he's going to be fully healthy. Draymond just keeps getting worse, I guess. He's got a throat infection now.
Draymond's actually just bad.
And yeah, he's not the
awful
player
this
he
year.
was in previous years.
He's shooting like 30% from 3 on like wide open shots.
And he could come back. I mean, he could just, flip the switch come playoff time. And
I always give the Warriors that benefit of the doubt that they can just flip the switch.
Sure.
But I always think it's like after All-Star game that they flip the switch. And then when they were like, okay, let's do it, all of them got hurt.
I think Houston's the legit favorite at this point.
I think so, too.
They have to be because they're just dominating everybody.
So aside from the track record issue that Lucas brought up, one potential concern that I wanted to, get your guys' take on is, does their brand of ISO ball work as well in the playoffs? So, like, is that brand of basketball more susceptible to losses than the Golden State Warriors style? Like, if a player has an off game or slumps for a series? Because to me, it inherently is flawed in that sense. Like, if for whatever reason Harden's shots aren't dropping or CP3 just slumps for a couple games, like, when it's basically just ISO ball, that's really impactful. Whereas if, Klay Thompson can't hit a 3 for a series, okay,
it's not the end
ball
of the world.
keeps moving. Yeah, they can still win a series. Nick, do you have a take on that?
I mean, that was the worry that, you always hear Charles Barkley say, like, a jump shooting team can't win the title. And then the Warriors went and did it. I just don't see a team that can beat the Rockets right now. Like, the Lillard Trailblazers are okay. But in the playoffs, I feel like these guys want it. Like Lucas has said before, they're thirsty this year.
It feels like destiny. Like it feels like it's
every domino is falling into place for the Houston Rockets.
Yeah. I don't like it though. Like maybe it's my Charles Barkley. Like a jump shooting team couldn't win, and that was wrong. But an ISO heavy team can't win because that's what it feels like. It's Chris Paul and James Harden going ISO, but something about that I think you're just right. It just screams that at some point someone's gonna have a bad game. And then you're going to get some other guy that's going to have a great defensive game on the other team. Sure. He's going to lock down the other guy that wasn't going to have a bad game, but the other guy's just better on defense.
And when you can scheme over the course of a series and leading up to it, you can figure out how to defend this better when this is all you're focused on. You're not focused on, okay, we played a game 2 nights ago. We're playing a game in 3 nights from now. I can't spend, 100 hours focusing on how to stop this ISO ball. Maybe it just gets harder too because you're seeing it night after night, game after game. Your coach is able to plan for it. You're able, you're training to stop it.
You just almost had to defend it to the point of saying like we're just going to let PJ Tucker get the ball.
I think
we want that shot to happen.
You let Trevor Ariza take a 3 because overall as a team, they're league average. They're just shooting like 36% as a team, and that's really not that great. But they shoot like the volume they shoot makes up for it completely.
Right.
So it's like you let everybody else touch the ball, but Harden and CB3, and I think you might win pretty easily though. Say you like double team Harden and CB3 constantly, and the rest of the team is so spread out that they have to jack threes.
Or
you didn't play them like the Trailblazers played them and just like get in the post and just like manhandle
get a big man
in the post. Like Nurkic was just taking them to town.
He's not an offensive guru.
He drops 27 because
22.
What is it, 22? I thought he dropped 27 and 10. All right, well, he dropped 22 on a team that should be able to stop him. But
on another MVP candidate early in the season who was like 6th.
Yeah.
Clint Capella, you may not get paid as much as you think.
Cavs, Warriors, 4.0, sipping. So I brought this up last night when we were all hanging out, and we thought it was a decent, kind of like a quick topic to end the first quarter on. So basically, it felt coming into this season like we were going to get the 4th iteration of Cavs versus Warriors in the finals. And I think if you polled 100 people, 50 people would be jacked up on it, and 50 people would be like, I'm so tired of that. I don't want to see it. But it's increasingly less likely. Between the Warriors' injuries, specifically Steph's, and the tumultuous Cavaliers season, there's really no reason to believe we're going to see the 4th installment of this interconference rivalry.
I'm getting to the point that I think the Cavs are more likely to make the finals than the Warriors now.
Oh, you stole my follow-up question. I was going to ask. Okay.
I didn't cheat. I didn't see your notes. But, I go back to that Raptors game where I thought, they just can't – the Cavs can't play defense. It's just It's horrendous. I don't even know why they even try. They should just let them shoot through. They don't try, but they shouldn't even be down there. They should just cherry-pick it on the other end because they're that bad. I just think LeBron is stepping to another level at the age of, what is he,
33?
33.
32 or 33.
He's second leading the league in minutes right now, and the only reason he's second is because Wiggins played one more game than him right now.
I'm telling you, it's Mamba. It's the Mamba era of LeBron, and it's terrifying. He's averaging 27, 9, and 9.
As long as he doesn't get hurt in April.
As long as he doesnn't get hurt. God, that would be awful.
Nick, can you pass me a beer?
Absolutely, sir.
Yeah, I just don't see a Cavs Warriors.
No.
That would feel like, what was it, Miami Spurs happened 3 years in a row?
Yeah. It's time to move on.
It's time to move on to a new 3 series, apparently.
A new dynasty, as some would say.
That's not how that works.
Inaccurate.
We'll start the second quarter with the Lucas list, but with a new game. we're going to play a little game here. It's called Panic or Don't Panic. Because right now, there are a lot of injuries going on. And the situation is, should teams panic about these injuries going into the playoffs in the future?
No.
No, all of them, no. No panicking. No time to panic.
Never panic.
So the first injury I have is Steph Curry. Grade 2 MCL sprain. Steve Kerr 2 days ago said there's no way he's playing in the first round.
Although Curry was a little, I don't know. Curry wasn't as sold about that.
Curry wasn't sold. I feel like all the players try to downplay their injuries constantly.
Right, of course. I believe Kerr, though.
I believe Kerr, too, because I think Kerr would be like, no, I'm not playing you. But my verdict is I think it's panic a little bit just because it's just another addition to all these injuries. It's like ankle, MCL sprain. Now playoffs come. What if he comes back and like his body moves poorly? And it's just adding question marks to like this weird timeline of. And Kevin Durant's constantly just doing ones. He's just having a 1 year addition to every single contract, not signing long term. So it's like, what happens if Curry actually is like super hurt, and then Durant some seasons like, all right, I'm going to be a snake and run off again. But I think this is actually I think this is kind of a panic for the playoffs for the Golden State Warriors because they were a lock for the finals and now they're not. I wouldn't say they're a lock even remotely.
I wouldn't say they're a lock, and I don't think they've been a lock for a couple months now. I think the Rockets have shown that
they're in the lead.
Yeah,
but I feel like the Warriors were they're fighting. They're thinking like finals are, bust every year.
Of course, yeah.
Well, yeah, because they've gone to the mountaintop.
Yeah, so if that's the goal, I think it's panic mode.
I wouldn't say panic. I'm going to say not panic because you said that.
Are you concerned?
I'm more concerned on how much I hate JaVale McGee for that stupid play.
Should we just banish all awkward centers from the league? Zaza, JaVale.
I mean, definitely Zaza. Let's get him out immediately.
And gone.
I just think the Steph would have been fine if Zaza didn't fall on his leg. I think they can make it through the first round. I almost think if Kawhi's not coming back, they really hope the Spurs slide to 7.
Probably.
Because they could win that with just Durant and Clay.
Yeah.
So if Curry comes back in the second round and he's feeling okay. I mean, I don't think they're going to make it out of the West.
Out of the West. I'm saying panic. I'm definitely going to say panic. And here's why. I'll give you the perfect storm of how Golden State could get bounced in the first round.
Oh.
So Kerr is out. Durant is feeling pressure. He can say whatever he wants. That anyone can say whatever they want. Durant has never won anything without Curry. It's that simple. Curry's won without Durant, and Durant has had some pretty solid crews in his day. So Durant's feeling the pressure. Maybe he's not 100%. Draymond is kind of up and down and whatever. We kind of just touched on that. So say, because they're going to be the second seed, say the T-Wolves come in as the 7th seed. And Jimmy Butler's back. And we'll talk about Jimmy Butler later.
Yeah.
But in this scenario, could a T-Wolves team with Jimmy Butler have a puncher's chance at defeating Golden State without Steph Curry, especially if they're able to steal a game 1 or 2?
I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So panic, everyone. Light things on fire. I don't know. Do whatever you do when you panic.
You panic hard, and it's not even just Curry's out. It's Clay has a broken thumb on his shooting hand.
Right.
That's huge. That means I
should have touched on that.
There's a huge chance.
Rookie.
There's a huge chance that he's not going to shoot well, at all in that first round. Draymond's bad, so you have a bad Draymond. You have a shooting guard that can't really shoot, probably. He's not going to be able to shoot as well. And then all you have is Durant and then, this weird old bench unit.
Swaggy P.
Against
oh my
anybody.
God, Swaggy's playing 40 minutes a game, too,
and it's really ugly.
It's not pretty.
What if the Thunder go on, an 8-game losing streak, get to the 7th seed or whatever?
They only have to lose 2.
I've fantasized about that.
What if it was – I would just love Thunder, Golden State first round.
1.
Yeah, and that
no
Thunder,
Curry.
No Curry. Clay's banged up. Draymond's bad.
Yeah, but you still have Carmelo Anthony and Paul George shooting 0 for 22.
Yeah, but I just think I just want an angry Westbrook, though. I just think an angry Westbrook would be more fun to just punch Durant in the face.
There is 4 teams that the Warriors could play that I wouldn't want them to play: Utah, Minnesota with Jimmy Butler, not the Pelicans or the Thunder. I really only want them to play the Spurs without Kawhi.
In terms of your confidence for them advancing.
Yes. It was like
so you said you actually I flipped you. You're in panic mode?
I'm in a bit of a panic mode.
Oh.
But like more panic than that they get bumped in the first round now.
Okay.
I don't think there's a chance that they get to the finals, even with like Curry coming back.
Okay.
Because I just don't think they've been healthy enough. I think the finals dream this year is done, and I think they kind of feel it too.
Nick's in the early stages of like a panic attack right now. Like palms getting sweaty.
He's in denial.
Knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on my sweater.
I was not going in that
Mom
direction,
spaghetti.
but thanks.
Thanks, Slim. All right, so the second injury
That was good.
The second injury I have is Kyrie Irving. He had knee surgery to remove tension wire in his knee. He's out 3 to 6 weeks.
Minimally invasive.
Yeah,
But-
Whatever that means.
But they did say that his knee is fully healed
fully
from
healed.
the 2015 injury.
I'm glad that injury is healed from 3 years ago. I'm very glad that.
Hey man,
finally
knee
is
injuries. Talk to Jason about it. They're rough.
My my verdict was not panic because I just think like they don't have championship aspirations this year, and it's all about next year. It's all about probably getting Marcus Smart back. It's all about Gordon Hayward coming back. It's all about getting Kyrie healthy.
Have we swayed you in the last couple of weeks when your hot takes are against Boston? Have we swayed you into
No, this goes into against Boston is I don't think they're going to do anything in the playoffs because they this isn't their year. They could get bumped in the first round. They could go to the second round, play a good series, but it doesn't matter. Like nothing they do in the playoffs matter because it's all about next year.
So you stole my takes, Thunder, because I completely agree. I said don't panic, and I said don't panic for basically that exact same reason. You weren't going anywhere regardless. The youth on the team needs to develop more. There's been no Gordon Hayward all year. Smart's return is still up in the air. I mean, Smart has a hand injury. He can't touch a basketball like during his recovery. So it's not like even if he comes back, he's gonna be like on it, ready to go. So yeah, don't panic. You weren't going anywhere either way. So if Kyrie's back, great. If he's not back, your ceiling is the same regardless.
Yeah.
Agreed. I think the panic was when Gordon Hayward got hurt in the first game of the year.
That was it.
That was the panic, and then
That decided their whole season.
yeah, it was over. From
Al Horford and Kyrie weren't going to carry a team to a chip.
Oh, Al Horford only gets paid like $30 million a year. He's worth it.
God, the team. So my third injury I have is Jimmy Butler. He had knee surgery. He's in week 5 of his recovery. That was estimated for 4 to 6 weeks. I had it listed as panic because at first I was not panicked because he's coming back. He said he's coming back like in a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. He's going to play at the end of the season. But the reason to panic for ownership, for fans, is that your coach is named Tom Thibodeau. This man, there's no doubt in my mind, Jimmy might play like 40 minutes a night coming back from injury. Like last game of the season, Thibs will be like, all right, let's test out your knee. Play every minute in this game. Like that's just a Thibs move. If I was a fan, I'd be like,
I don't want to believe it, but I think, it could happen.
Jeff T came out 3 days ago and asked, like in a press conference, like I really hope Thibs looks at the minutes and like reduces our starters playing time. The next game he played 46 minutes. Like he's playing endless minutes. Like every single starter's playing 40 plus, basically close to 40. Like that's way too many minutes for this end of the season. You have no trust in the bench. I'm worried that like Jimmy comes back maybe too soon because Thibs apparently doesn't believe in recovering, and maybe ruins Butler because this is kind of their window because next year Wiggins' contract kicks in. He's going to be making $27 million. Butler's going to be making, I think, a little bit less. I think he's making 25, and I think Wiggins is going to be making 27. Like,
dude, Wiggins needs to.
Their window is too small right now because they're going to have to trade Wiggins away, basically.
Who's going to take that contract?
I don't know. Like a really bad team that like the Knicks would have to just take a Wiggins I don't. Their window's too small.
The Knicks would love a Wiggins.
Yeah,
they would love one.
But you need to find one of those lower tanking teams that need a gunner. I would say panic just because I don't trust Thibs in any sort of recovering injury situation.
I think if you want to look at panic, just look at the game they lost against the Grizzlies.
Yeah, they lost against the Grizzlies.
No, but do you want to hear the minutes? Jeff Teague, 42. Wiggins, 43. Taj Gibson, 43. Karl Anthony Towns, 39. Jamal Crawford, 30. And then you had the Bjelica?
I can say it in my head, but I'm going to try to...
22 minutes. Dieng, 14. Jones, 6. Because they only played 8 people. Against the Grizzlies.
How do you play?
Against the Grizzlies.
Why would you shorten your roster? Why would you shorten lineups?
The Grizzlies who played 10 players. No,
and who defeated
11.
Them?
Yeah, they beat them.
The tanking team that just beat them.
Who was going let's go 11 deep with all these G League guys that we don't care about. And then, wait, whoa. Timberwolves, what are you doing? You're losing to them? Why?
Yeah, because they're not good without Butler. I mean, really honestly, they're 6 and 7 without him. Haven't looked strong. Defense, awful. Basically, a middle of the pack team. Maybe even worse than that. I mean,
I'm going to throw the panic even higher. They could just not even make the playoffs.
They definitely could miss the playoffs.
They could miss the playoffs, and that of the list, I think this is the largest panic because they haven't made the playoffs since.
They were the 3rd seed at one point in the season.
They were the 3rd seed. Yeah.
I mean, basically when he got injured.
Yeah, when he got injured, they're only a game and a half ahead of the Clippers.
They're paying Jeff Teague too, $18 a year. They're in so much money problems to have Jimmy being out right now.
So we're all saying panic on this one.
I think so. I think it's panic. My last injury is John Wall. He had knee surgery. There is no timetable for his return, but he said he lost 15 pounds so far since being injured. So there's that.
And he's back to full contact practice. I don't know if you saw that.
So maybe he's sooner than later, but I still think it's panic time because I don't know what the window for the Wizards is.
Yes, I get to disagree.
They're maxed out with 3 players that aren't championship caliber, I guess. I don't think Otto Porter making $25 a year is a championship, a team built for a championship.
When did he sign that contract? Was it in the infamous summer?
No, it was last year.
Okay.
He killed it last year, right? And then he signed his signed the max, and then whatever. That team is just moneyed out. Otto.
Oh, Otto got the max where he gets half of it on the first day of the season?
Yeah. He got the Kobe contract. But
because that makes sense.
Yeah, and then they got Mahinmi still on the contract they're so screwed with money that I don't think they have a window. And eventually, if they don't keep winning, I just see John Wall leaving too. So John Wall needs to come back.
He'd have to get traded. Someone would have to take that super max.
I don't know. I just think they're in so much trouble that they just need a healthy John Wall. I would panic if I was a fan or an owner. I would just be like, I don't know what to do.
You went about this segment differently than I did. It's interesting. You're definitely looking at these panic, don't panic situations from a more macro perspective. I think from more of an organizational perspective and looking forward even not just this year. Which I really wasn't doing. I was really looking at impact this year, panic, don't panic. I said don't panic on this one. I believe Wall will be back by, maybe even in the regular season, but I think he'll be back by the first round of the playoffs. Mm-hmm. The core of this team has been together for a little bit. So it's not like this newly constructed team. It's not like the Cavs, where all these pieces have changed. I think he'll slide right back in. On court, I don't think there's really going to be any issues. There's not going to be any we gotta refigure out how to play together. No, these guys have played tons of games together. So I think don't panic. I mean,
don't panic.
Yeah, I think he'll be back, and I think it'll be a smooth transition, and they're a better team with him. I mean, all the hype that they weren't, none of us ever bought into, which is good.
Yeah,
but
we never buy into hype. We're the anti-hype team here.
We never buy into the Wizards.
Well, let's be honest here. We don't buy into Bradley Beal being alone. I would say not panic. I think there was never really championship aspirations as long as these Warriors were around and the Rockets are what they are. I think, honestly, I would just shut John Wall down for the year and just let him come back next year.
You might as well. I mean,
I wouldn't risk it. And
I don't know if I agree because the East is more wide open this year than it has been in the LeBron era.
They would have to play Cleveland in the first round.
I just feel like their whole team this whole season was like
You think it's that impossible for them to beat Cleveland? I mean, I think
have
it's unlikely.
Have you seen LeBron in Washington?
I don't know.
He's going to drop 80 a game.
The Cavs are either going to look absolutely incredible in the playoffs or they're just going to look terrible. There's no middle ground. It's like LeBron's going to be the greatest player ever in the playoffs, or that whole team's just going to be terrible.
Kyle Korver's about to pop off. His brother just passed away.
That's how we used to play fantasy. Was if a family member died, you instantly had to pick up that player.
Wow, it's
That's dark.
It's a dark thing, but it's a true thing.
You felt bad for like 20 minutes, and then you were like, "All right."
But then you reaped the rewards.
You felt bad for like
you were excited
2
for
minutes.
Monta dropping 45 the next game.
Yeah, because it happened every single time. Because it's love and support. This week we're switching it up. It's the third quarter. No interview. Yeah. That's right. We got some garbage time. A little special garbage time this week. We're going over our All-NBA teams. We're going to start off with the first team. The way it's going to go, we'll talk about the 2 guards, the 2 forwards, and then the center position. And then we'll rotate through the teams all the way down to the third team, which I may not even have a full roster for.
Man, this was a fun idea. Who came up with this?
I don't know, probably me because I have the greatest ideas on this podcast.
I don't think so. I think it was me.
And truth be told, it was me. I was trying to get one of you guys to say it. You jerks.
We had a few beverages last night. I couldn't remember where any of the ideas were coming from.
Yeah, but good brainstorming sessions.
It was good. All right, let's start off with the All-NBA first team. Lucas, we'll start off with your guards.
All right, so my first team guards, I had James Harden. Obviously.
I think
that's unanimous.
Yeah.
Then I had Damian Lillard as my second guard, and he's pretty much killing it this year. He's super underrated, though. 27, 7, and 5, shooting 50% on twos, which is incredible. 37% on threes. And his team has gotten all the way up to the 3rd seed. I feel like a lot of that is because of Lillard.
And they're like pretty solid on the 3rd seed. And like you said, his stats have just been outstanding.
He started off really slow too. I think it was the first 2 months he was slumping from his previous year. And then
he was below career averages.
Yeah, and then he kicked it into some insane high gear. And now it's absurd.
I also have Damian as my second guard because I think he deserves it. I think this is his year. 3rd seed is outstanding. And they're solidifying themselves as the 3rd seed. I don't think they're going out of that spot.
Yeah, I think they're stuck in there.
I mean, they passed the eye test. They are the 3rd best team in the West right now. There's no debate.
Honestly, with the Warriors being hurt, it might be the 2nd best team.
Yeah, I mean, depending on how it all shakes out. So James Harden, of course, unanimous there. I have Chris Paul as my second guard, and that position out of all 3 All-NBA teams, that was the hardest one for me to decide on, was that second guard on the first team. I had to give it to Chris. I did. I don't think Lillard's impact has been bigger than Chris's, and I think Chris Paul has played just enough where I'm not going to penalize him for missing games. He's played 54 games at this point, and he'll probably end up right around 60.
Yeah.
And to me, that passes the test. This
is the hard part of picking because some players are like Curry's only at 51 games. He will only be at 51 for the season.
Yeah, he's not playing anymore.
Yeah, no, I couldn't put him first team. I mean, if he had played this whole year or substantially more, he probably would have been first team for me.
I think this is for my list anyway, I really rewarded the players that played well throughout the season, but sure, they're not on the tier of Chris Paul or James Harden or something like that. But if you play 80 games, 78 games, I'm going to value that more than somebody that's only played 51. So that's why,
sure,
I would have.
When
we go on,
is that why you put Lillard ahead of Chris Paul?
Yeah, I think.
Give me the argument why Lillard over Chris Paul.
Well, besides that, he's played phenomenal at the end of the year. I don't think you can reward a first-team All-NBA if you just barely play over 2/3 of a season. Like
that, and I think
2/3 is like 56 games. I think so. He's just going over that benchmark. I think like a first team, you really should be playing like 65 plus.
I don't know if the history of the award reflects that, but I hear you. That's your opinion.
I just feel like you need to reward. Stamina is not the right thing, but like
I just think Lillard's played better for a team that no one really expected to be the third seed. I think he's put them there and separated them from the lower half that everyone. Because I had them at the 7th seed.
Yeah, I did not see them
being a third seed. So that's why. That's why
I best team in the league, 4th best team in the league.
Yeah,
I mean, I would put them better than the Celtics, but I mean, I'm looking at like record wise, they're the 5th best team in the league. They're probably actually better than that, but I don't know. I think a lot of that's on Dame.
I think your guys' choice is fine. I have no issue.
Yeah, I think in a vacuum, like both these choices are.
Personally,
okay,
I like Chris better, but yeah.
No. All right, let's move on to the forward. We only have so much time here at the podcast.
2-hour pods. 2-hour pods.
We're trying to keep it to an hour and a half, all right? So I had LeBron James and Giannis Antetokounmpo for my 2 forward positions because I didn't have Davis as a forward.
Oh, yeah, neither did I. I got LeBron, obviously. He's just an absolute animal. But I had Durant, and I had this because of just team success and, like, impact on the team. Like, Giannis has been killing it, but, like, I remember the beginning of the season. Wasn't the first, like, month, or was it, like, 3 weeks? Giannis was posting up like the most absurd, disgusting numbers.
It was like
he was that like
30
super early season MVP candidate.
It's dipped off to like non-existent anymore. But
he's still playing phenomenal.
27, 10, and 5. But his team is also the 8th seed. And for just something like I know like Boogie, I know players make all NBA teams without having great records, but I feel like recently with the Bucks playing poorly. And he's been playing well, but there's also like there's a lot of talk about along like Bucks fans that like he's being way too selfish now. Like he's trying to take the whole team on his back, and his percentages are going down.
That team is
he has
terrible.
to, but then like it's not turning into wins. It's just like this weird storm of where I don't think Giannis next year, you know, he could be at this point of being first team for the next 6 years. But I just think like
I mean he has the potential to be league MVP any year from here until. You know, he's out of his prime.
I have Durant. Yeah, I have Durant there. I just think he also deserves it. 27, 7, and 5.
Who's the better defender?
Giannis.
Yeah,
Giannis is a better defender.
Interesting. Nice.
Durant's a better.
I'm glad I asked that question because that's the more interesting answer. I had Bron, of course. And then I had Anthony Davis because I counted him as a forward.
Okay.
Because, I mean, he really is a forward. You're moving him to center.
He plays
really
like 40% at center.
It's debatable. It's debatable where you want to list him.
Like 70. Like,
I actually just thought the first team laid out. I actually thought all the teams laid out better when I listed him as a forward versus a center.
Okay.
So I mean, obviously, all three of us agree Anthony Davis deserves to be first team NBA. It's just what position you're going to put him on.
I guess the question: who is your center?
Joel Embiid.
Joel Embiid's your first center. All right. He's played a great year.
He's the best player on the most improved team in the league. And he's an amazing
finish at 3rd seed.
And he's a two-way, who could finish at the 3 seed. And he's a two-way center. And those are hard to come by. I mean, someone that really is a defensive stalwart that also can put the ball in the bucket from 3, from the mid-range, finish at the rim. Like, I think he deserves it.
Well, I have him there. Yeah, I have him as an All-NBA player.
I have him as an All-NBA player.
Who are your guys' first team centers?
Oh, I have Davis.
Davis, obviously.
Davis, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so that's our first teams. Let's move it on to the second. This is when it started getting a little more challenging for me because, I mean, the guard positions were already so hard. Jason, you start us off with your second team guards.
I feel honored. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have Steph Curry and Damian Lillard as my second team. Dame, you guys did a great job highlighting why he's the man. Steph, like I said, his games played kept him out of my first team, but he's Steph Curry. We all talked about how we basically talked about how much he means to this team in the previous quarter, in the second quarter.
Yeah.
We talked about, what they will look like in the playoffs without him. He means everything to this team, honestly. Like, Durant is the better player, but Steph is more important to his team. And, yeah, I just think he's the man. I think he deserves second team. And I kind of just think, based on career, star power, everything else,
He'll get the votes.
yeah, it's where I saw it.
Where are you at?
I have neither of those players on my second team.
Neither do I.
Well, you had Dame in your first.
Yeah, which is fine. I had Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
My boy. You had my boy in your second team?
I
love
see who
Westbrook.
you have. We have the same player.
Oh, there it is.
Hola, Oladipo!
Victor Oladipo.
That's trash.
Oh my
What?
God. Oh, it's such a great pick.
No,
He
you
deserves it.
can't put him above Steph.
Well,
I had to.
I think so. I think it's out of. I think it's out of like respect for Oladipo. He's played every game. He's played every game but 2 this year.
Man, you were putting a lot of weight on that.
I think it's important. I mean, Steph's not
I'm
even
putting-
going to. Steph isn't going to finish the season playing 2/3 of the season. Like he's barely, he's barely over half. Right.
I put more weight in the fact that the Pacers are tied for record with Philly, but Philly owns the season series, I'm guessing, since...
I don't think they do, actually.
Do they not?
No, I
I don't
think-
think they do.
I think the Pacers
The
are
Pacers-
2-1
the Pacers
against.
are-
Oh, Philly's played less games. That's why they're ahead.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I didn't have the Pacers being in the playoffs this year.
Nobody.
No one did. Yeah.
Oladipo's the MIP. I
Yeah.
think he deserves it.
I think he
save
deserves
that
it too.
for a different pod.
Whoa. We
Well,
don't
what
talk about that one.
ESPN's 538 estimated that the Pacers are going to win 23 games this year.
And
now
they're
what
at
do they have?
44.
They're 44, probably going to end up with like 48, 49. That's absurd. That's crazy, and it's all because of Oladipo.
And they
He's
just take
completely-
mid-range jumpers.
Yeah, that was probably the greatest story ever. That they're just fighting this 3-point meta so hard.
Wait, so I also just realized then, so you guys still know Chris Paul.
No.
So we're through first and second All-NBA teams, and you guys don't have Chris Paul or Steph Curry.
Oh.
You know where they're sitting. You know where they're sitting on my team.
Gentlemen, I don't even know.
You have to play basketball. You have to play.
Yeah, and that's the reason I give the edge to Westbrook. He's almost averaging a triple-double. The team's been through ups and downs, and we've found, should they even be in the playoffs? They're sitting at the 4th seed right now in the West, which I honestly don't know how.
That's the one
The
thing.
other two players.
It has to be it's just Westbrook. I mean, Paul George, every time I look at a box score, it looks like he's falling.
Paul
off
It's
the
actually not just Westbrook. It's Westbrook and Steven Adams.
Adams.
has been playing great. Melo's falling
Who
off
just
the cliff.
finishes, it feels like every time I look at a box score, it's 7 for 11. His shooting percentage is so money. He's
shooting 63%.
They would really be a better team if they just focused all the more on keeping him offensively involved.
I mean, both these guards, their teams are 7-3 in the last 10. So coincidence? I think not.
You want to look at forwards?
I will go to the forwards.
Oh, sorry, do you have
No.
Okay.
We had the same ones. So for my forwards on the second team, I had Kevin Durant, which was
Okay.
just him and Giannis were almost interchangeable for me,
Right.
but I gave the boy some love. And then I had LaMarcus Aldridge.
I had LaMarcus too.
Oh, I just want the fans to know
We
we
have-
did not talk before this.
I have Giannis and I have Aldridge.
Giannis
So,
and Aldridge.
yeah.
Close. Jason?
I had Giannis Durant.
Okay.
So we're all pretty consistent in, at least one of our forwards being the same. We haven't really talked on LaMarcus at all. Without him, this Spurs team would be
They're not a team.
they're not even a team. They're just a bunch of G League guys, and then there's LaMarcus Aldridge dropping 40 points a game recently.
I think the Spurs have been so blessed that LaMarcus got upset this offseason, went to Pop, and was like, let me play my game that I played in Portland. I
Right.
don't want to be this Spurs system player. That's not who I am. It doesn't work for me. Let me just post up any little guy in the league. That's what he does, and he kills it. I mean, he's averaging 20. I saw the 3. 23 and 8. But it's not like he's some insane player, but he's doing incredibly well, and he takes advantage of the situation he's in.
He's carrying a very, very average cast of
Right?
characters.
Yeah.
Through a really tough Western Conference, maybe an all-time tough Western Conference. And they're, kind of smack dab in the middle of the playoff race. And, yeah, I mean, he's on my third team. We'll get there when we get there. But,
He deserves it.
yes, I mean, I respect LA for sure.
it's the second third most points he's averaged, but by like .03 in his career, which is insane. And he's just getting a block. He's doing a little bit of everything. I love it. I love his game.
Yeah,
I love LaMarcus.
He's sick.
I'm glad that he's finally getting back onto that. So we're going to move to the second team center. This is where I had Joel Embiid.
I had Embiid there too.
Cat,
that's a good choice. I was really debating that, but man, that Timberwolves team is completely different without Jimmy Butler.
and that's only because I had Embiid first. You know what I mean? Like, I would have put Embiid, well, obviously I did, ahead of Cat, but I think Cat is the next best center in the league.
I think so too.
Ooh, foreshadowing to your third.
Oh yeah. Well, my third is Towns.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move to the third team.
Oh, this is hard. This is where it got really hard for me.
This is where I couldn't even finish the roster because I just got lazy. But no, I just was looking at all the teams. I'm like, no, you don't deserve it. No. And then I forgot about players, which I figured I would. But going into the guards, this is where I have Chris Paul and Steph Curry. Based off the games they played, I mean,
Nick, I'm used to being this dismayed with Lucas. Like, this is nothing new.
I mean,
Lucas's hot cakes can be so erroneous. But you, I don't know.
If Curry
feels
wasn't
weird
shooting
because
at like
angry with you.
a career elite, like historic level that he did, I guess he's not playing in the season anymore. But like he's shooting so insanely well, but he's only played 51 games. I just feel like it'd be such a jab to any other player that like finished like if a player averaged like 26, 5 and 5, but at the end of the year, Steph Curry played 51 games. You played all 82, but like Steph Curry wins because he's Steph Curry. It's like that's not.
He's gonna get the votes.
I hear you.
Both of them are getting their votes because they have who they are. Like Chris Paul is the point guard on the best team.
Like he's the second best point guard, I guess, second best guard on his team. Like I just don't. Oladipo's the best player on his team by a lot and just jumped his team to 25 wins. You know, that's why I would have Oladipo over Chris Paul. I don't.
So this is where I have Westbrook and Oladipo.
Which
and
I think
it broke my heart to have Westbrook third team, but
I'm just glad Oladipo's making an All-NBA team.
Yeah, I think he deserves it. Which is sad because you think about like Kyrie Irving's not going to make an All-NBA team, and they're the second.
And it really was his injury that derailed it.
Yeah,
I don't know if maybe you guys. I don't want to foreshadow into our forwards, but no Kyle Lowry. Do you guys have DeMar as a like?
I was really thinking about.
No, I don't
DeMar,
have a single Raptor.
But
Raptor is a
well. I was
All-NBA
trying
player.
to think of. I was trying to make an argument for DeRozan, but his point, everything is down from last season. That's because his bench got better, but everything is down. Like all shooting percentages, all like I don't know. He's having a bad year, but he's the best team in the East. I don't think he deserves it, though.
Can you toss me a beer, Nick?
Absolutely, sir. Okay, well, I'm just going to be honest. I only had one forward pick because...
I wrote down a name, but I don't like it.
Is it Paul George?
It's Paul George. I don't think he deserves it.
He absolutely does not deserve it.
I see your other forward, which I
think he deserves it.
I think...
He's going to end up playing more minutes, more games than the other two people I had concerns about.
And that's why I think I was going to give to him, but I wasn't 100% sure, and then I just left it blank.
So who do you have? You have Paul George down?
You know our listeners can't see his piece of paper,
Yeah,
right?
no. So I had DeMar DeRozan, and I wanted to write in Jimmy Butler, but I wasn't sure if he was going to come back this year.
Jimmy's going to come back. I think if I put him in the same criteria that I put Curry and Paul,
you got to give it to him.
I got to give it to Butler because he had a really great season. And he'll probably come back and play 3 games, and that'll put him at the 60-game benchmark for me, and I think that's okay.
So I had LaMarcus Aldridge and Kevin Love.
Ooh.
Which I saw your Kevin Love, and I was like, this is actually...
It's not a bad pick.
It's not a bad pick.
He's played 53 games.
These games are killing me.
And he's going to keep playing more.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, not that there's a ton left, but...
He'll probably get to 60.
Right around,
or 60.
yeah.
Think about this list, though. Like, all teams, all 3 of these, there's only one traditional power forward. I guess you have Love, but, like, LaMarcus Aldridge is, like, the only one really left. Anthony Davis, I had a center, a forward that's interchangeable, but he's still not, like, traditional. Like, you really only have LaMarcus Aldridge as, like, the last old guard forward.
I hear you. Everyone else is like a kind of that more like low post, like back to the basket.
Yeah, everyone else is a ball handler.
Mid-range
Like
jumper,
LeBron is a ball
turnaround,
handler.
right.
Giannis is basically the point guard.
Durant has always just been a freak.
It's the change in the league and how everyone you want the person who's carrying the team there.
It's crazy.
But see, this is why I ultimately liked listing Davis as a forward, because I just feel like it set everything else up better. I guess I'm biased, but I really like my third team forwards more than I like your guys' picks.
Yeah,
My third team forwards, I just think are.
Well, yeah, you didn't even make one pick.
I only picked DeMar
Paul
just
George,
because.
But yeah, so I had Paul George, Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, but you get where I'm coming from,
Yeah.
right? Because if you filled one slot at forward with Anthony Davis,
then it trickles down.
It trickles down, and
Aldridge would end up on my third team.
Center.
I had Cat.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I had Cat at 3.
Al Horford.
I have Al Horford as well. So Cat's not on your list.
Cat is not on my list.
Can you shed a little light on?
I think it's more of the fact that he's had a good season, but like we've talked, and you said in your hot takes before, he's not aggressive enough sometimes. He's not taking enough shots. They kind of he doesn't really play good defense either. I mean, he went to a little stretch where he's good. Al Horford's solidifying the defense of the Celtics, who are a top 5.
He's like a constant rock on offense and defense.
Yeah, he does everything.
So good. And I mean, if I'm not going to have a Celtic on my All-NBA team and they're the second, and I had a Raptor, which DeMar was kind of like a shoe-in because I just felt bad for them. But I think Al Horford deserves an All-NBA third team.
I would just be sad. I don't know. Maybe Cat needs a year or two.
I don't think he's there yet. I think Al Horford's he doesn't have the numbers maybe per se, but he has the effect on the team.
Right. No, I totally agree with that. Yeah, I mean, Cat, I'm pretty sure last season he was averaging 25 points a game. He's down to 21 right now. Give or take a point there on both of those. I'm not looking at stats right now, but
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I love him. I mean, he's second team All-NBA for me, but I want more. I want more from him.
I want more to get him onto my All-NBA team, which is crazy for someone who's averaging 25 points, 22 points a game. Welcome to everybody's favorite quarter. It's the fourth quarter. I picked 5 marquee matchups this week. And no, one of them is not the Kings versus the Phoenix Suns, because
Which would have been a nail biter.
that would have been a good one.
That would tank.
Race to the bottom. Let's go.
I'll look back at last week's records. Lucas snuck out a tie for first with Jason in the last game. Clippers versus the Bucks.
It was a hard matchup too. Not gonna lie.
It was. That was a good game. That was a good game to pick. And I regrettably lost last week. Tough match. Tough match.
Good
Well,
game.
I'm stoked that I had a winning record this week, because I had fallen back to being at 500 for the season, and that made me think, oh my god, if I fell back to 500, could I become the next Lucas?
That's a possibility.
500.
Lucas won't get above 500 by the end of the season.
I would be so sad if he did.
He's gonna have to make some good picks this
Creeping
week.
back up. I've had 2 straight winning.
We were
weeks.
only 3-2. You barely crept.
That's only one game of your 10 games below 500.
It's coming.
All right, back on track. We're going into game 1 Thursday night on TNT, 8 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, I got the facts straight this time. Don't worry, guys. Oklahoma City Thunder versus the San Antonio Spurs. Spurs are favored at home, 56%.
This game is en fuego. I'm very excited.
I'm really excited. Maybe we'll get together and watch a game. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Follow our Twitter and Facebook to see. Lucas, start us off.
Honestly, I don't know. This is such a
This was a mistake.
This is so hard.
I'm never leading off with Lucas anymore.
What do you mean? This is such a evenly matched up.
Where's your hot takes?
I don't know. I'm going Thunder though.
Okay.
I like the Thunder in this matchup.
Jason's a little sad inside. I can tell by the look on his face.
Because I have to side with Lucas now. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Thunder. I feel like I've learned my lessons. I used to not pick my teams because then I'd be doubly sad if they lost. And And then I just was always wrong. So I'm going to keep picking my teams now.
This is like what goes through a gambler's head. Like, I'm going to bet this way. And then like, no, I'm going to go this way. And then
Right. Like I'm not using like on-court statistics. I'm not using anything about actual basketball to make these picks when it comes to like the Thunder and the Sixers. I'm strictly
going homer. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick
the heart, damn
I'm
it.
going to pick the San Antonio Spurs. You know what? The fact that Kawhi Leonard's coming back, just kidding. That's not actually happening. You're Woj bomb right here. No, I'm taking the Spurs because I'm keeping it interesting, giving the people what they want. Game 2, Friday night, 8 p.m. ESPN matchup. We're taking the New Orleans Pelicans versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavs are favored 58% at home. Nice. This is a good matchup. We got LeBron, who's playing at an MVP-esque level. Anthony Davis is playing at MVP-esque level. I really don't know where to go with this, so I'm going to hand it off to Jason.
Good choice. I'm going to take the Cavaliers. And I don't feel that strongly about it, despite, how I came off there. But yeah, I think it's just Bron time, honestly. I think that's what it comes down to. Like, LeBron James knows what needs to happen. He knows the mode, the mindset, and he's going to get his team there. Honestly, I really think, especially, he's like a shark that's smelling Toronto's blood in the water right now. He is, man. And yeah, I'm riding Bron.
Ooh.
Nothing sexual. I've tried, and he shot me down.
Oh, well, that's okay. I'm going to take the Pelicans because Anthony Davis is a monster, and I don't think Kevin Love and Larry Nance can just do anything to stop that bulldozer of a human being.
That's a really good point. Now I'm scared with my pick.
Yeah, I mean, like, who's guarding Anthony Davis?
But then you take it on the other end. Who's guarding LeBron James on the?
I don't know. They just started throwing bodies at him.
I don't think they have enough bodies.
Yeah, but who can guard?
They roll Boogie out onto the court like it's a little like a speed bump.
Right. A hurdle.
I'm picking the Pelicans too. I think Anthony Davis is just pissed about that last game. Who did they play that we watched? It wasn't the Trailblazers, right? Or was it the Trailblazers?
Last night?
Yeah, last night.
It was Blazers.
Yeah. I bet he's just furious that he didn't touch the ball in the last minute and a half.
He did, but
he had that one layup.
That was infuriating.
But then Drew Holiday took a terrible layup shot. And then Etuan Moore had to take 2.
I don't even know.
It just makes me upset.
Coach didn't want to call a timeout. I don't know what is going through their head.
I mean, he's going to get fired. It's okay. Sorry, Gentry.
Yeah, all 3 of us were like, timeout? Hey, guys, timeout?
Don't let Etuan Moore shoot twice.
Don't forget there's a timeout you have that you never took.
Stop this.
So, yeah, I'm going Pelicans.
Pelicans? It's a good choice. I like your choice. Not so much Jason's.
I like your choice, too.
Oh, thanks. We're going game 3. Sunday.
Screw you guys.
Sunday, kind of, 6 p.m. game. Not late. That's Eastern Standard Time. Don't worry, fans out there all over the world. This is on NBA TV. The Thunder are back. Oklahoma City Thunder versus, whoa. Did you guys see this team coming? The New Orleans Pelicans. Back-to-back games with the Pels. Let's go.
That's not a thing.
Pelicans are favored 52%, which is absolutely nothing when you're being at home.
If the BPI favors you by 5 when you're at home, that means they're not favored, that means it's even, right?
Yeah, it's
like the Thunder are favored actually, but they don't want to admit it. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say the Pelicans are going to win again.
Wow.
I don't know why, and I just don't feel strongly about it. Other than that, Paul George and Carmelo suck.
I don't ever want to pick the Thunder twice in 1 week. But because of how annoying they are. But I think I'm going to. I'm going to pick OKC. I have no reason behind it. But they have to win once in a week, right? They can't lose both these games.
I can't ride twice with Lucas on the Thunder. I'm going the opposite direction. Screw everything I just said about only being a homer from here on out. Thanks a lot, bud. I'm going Pelicans.
I'm getting one of these games right. The Thunder have to win once this week.
You would think so.
You would think.
They're going to win the one game that,
Wait, I take it back. I'm going Thunder. I'm sorry. Sorry, listeners.
Dope. Pelicans 2 games this week. Let's go. All right. Whoa. Game 4. Sunday again because the NBA doesn't play a game on Monday.
Wow, Nick has just been flipping the script throughout this fourth quarter.
Yeah, I'm switching it up. We're going 7 p.m. Eastern game. This is a rematch of when Jeff Teague brutally attacked the poor Ricky Rubio, a young man.
Coming down in his prime.
The Utah Jazz are playing the Minnesota Timberwolves. We've picked this game before.
Nice.
Cat got ejected. All that hoopla happened.
So much hoopla.
The Timber Puppies are favored 61%, which I just don't believe. Against this defense with Gobert and the Jazz, you guys know where I'm headed.
Okay.
It's Jazz time in Salt Lake City.
I, too, like music in the improvisational style. I will be taking the Jazz.
I wanted to pick the Jazz.
Should pick faster.
You should have gone second. Should I pick Minnesota just to be fun?
I think you should. Your record's already so bad that you can't recover it.
I need to take risks, right?
Yeah.
I mean, give up.
Jimmy Butler could be back for all we know.
That's true, actually.
I'm going to pick the Jazz.
If Jimmy...
I was like, wait, what?
Okay.
Keeping this podcast interesting for you in the fourth quarter, we're going to the final game. It's an Eastern Standard game. This team is favored 62%. It's the Toronto Raptors. But who are they playing? The Cleveland Cavaliers again.
Ooh, wow, okay.
The Cavs are at home. This is the second time we've picked this game in 2 weeks.
Raptors, Cavs.
Who I didn't see that one coming.
Phenomenal.
I'm going to switch the script. I'm going to flip the script.
Script the flip.
Classic. This is a classic fourth quarter.
We're losing
a lot of laughter. I mean, we're well beyond an hour.
We're scripting the flip right now.
I said switching the script, and then I decided to say flipping the script. It's all right, listeners. Don't worry. I'm going to take the Raptors because if they lose another game where they score 80 in the first half, I don't even know what to think. They shouldn't even play in the NBA playoffs.
I'm going to go Cavs because...
He learned his lesson last time?
Oh, no, because if I learned my lesson, I should pick Toronto. But, man, Cavs really need to make a run at the Senate. They have played some really hard games, I'm pretty sure. Some teams that can give them some trouble.
Like the Toronto Raptors.
They actually have it pretty easy.
Is it all easy?
Schedule.
Yeah, besides like this game.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
God, you should do your research before the podcast.
I think I'm still going to pick the Cavs. I just think LeBron's got it. They have to win. I don't really know. 8 years of LeBron dominance. I just can't see them not being like a top 3 seed.
Ride with the super successful record of Nicholas, or die with just the complete failure, only in terms of picks, that is Lucas.
Oh, goodness.
You know where you want to go.
I know where I'm going, baby. Toronto.
Let's go. Thank you for listening to this week's Sip and Swish NBA podcast. We had a great time. We hope you did as well. Make sure you follow us on Twitter for some great commentary when we're not on the podcast. It's at Sip and Swish, and our Facebook is also fantastic at Sip and Swish NBA. Thank you so much again for listening, hitting us with the downloads. If you love what we do, make sure you leave us a review.